Let's see if anything pops up. There it is. All right. Boys and girls. Hello, everybody. Hang on a minute. I get discombobulated because of the audio delay when I talk to y'all. Might be clipping a little bit. Change things around. Yeah, I get discombobulated when I listen to the. Sorry about that. When I listen to the headphones, when I try to monitor the audio, it goofs me up because there's a several millisecond delay, and I get to hearing myself talking. I'm discombobulated. I'm out of sync. It messes me up. So I got on here and got to hopping around, wanting to make sure I was ready when it was time to go. I want to do one more thing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it done. Let me see what I can make happen here. Just knock that down a minute. Y'all watch that TV behind me. Okay, connect. Uh-oh, I hope I didn't kill myself. Is my stream still live? All right. So, I got them sheep behind me. I want to close that. Now I want to put my logo back there if I can find it. Artwork. Hell, I might have disconnected myself. Artwork. All right, let's see what happened. There it is. Now give me a second here. There we go. Feel more at home now. Oh, bumping things around. All right. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Rabun County RAG. The RAG stands for Rag Chewing, is where we can get together as a group of like-minded people and talk about things in our community, talk about our love of nature, taking care of each other, our families, our spiritual and physical lives, and doing that as a community of like-minded people. This is the opportunity where we can get together. I don't know if it'll ever come to fruition. I think this is week 8, and I don't know how many people have viewed these things, but I am going to continue to do it, even if I talk to myself. I believe it was reading the newspaper earlier today, and I think it was from Thessalonians, and I believe it was Paul speaking when he says, in that letter, he says, final commandment I give you in this letter, or whatever. But it was lift up one another. That's our duty as Christians. Is we're to lift up one another in times of distress, in times of famine, in times of sorrow, in times of joy. We're to lift one another up. Make each other glad. Sometimes that's tough to do. I told somebody today that people are always glad to see me. They're either glad I'm coming or glad I'm going. Sometimes they get double gladness out of it, but that's okay. That's okay. Anybody I run across, I try to make sure that I recognize them for the gladness they bring. I can't check my darn. Oh, here we go. Y'all excuse me. I'm still trying to work out some of these doodads. Now, this thing may be stuttering and slow. It says that I'm not getting enough open widget. I wonder if I knocked myself off a minute ago. Says poor. But I see I'm on the feedback there, so I guess I'm on here somewhere. Anyway, so remember I'm on a Starlink, and the satellite has to go up. Well, the signal has to go up and catch a satellite, and then it has to catch a down feed to another section of the internet, find a gateway. So if it gets a little stuttery, it's like I said, I should have it higher on the roof. Maybe I'll get somebody to put that up there for me one day. Anyway, lift one another up. Lift one another up in all things. Current hunting season. What do we got going on? That thing trying to tell me to ask for an assistant. And I don't want to ask for no. Oh, there we go. What do we got here? I need to see if I can shrink it down a tad. All right. Turkey season opens up. Statewide, southern zone, northern zone. I'm trying to figure this stuff out. Archery, turkey. Bear, northern. September of next year. So we're out of that season. Turkey. Says here, private land, statewide, March 29th. Opening day. Public land is April 5th. Has some special opportunity hunts. March 22nd through the 25th. And there's a way you can share these screens, but I hadn't figured that out yet. Maybe I can do that one before the next time we meet. Alligator, nope. Looks like crow is in season to the end of the month. I don't know if I'd want to shoot a crow. I don't know. Well, I don't on a farm either. Dove season. That's gone. Fox and bobcat. That ends February 28th. Grouse ends February 28th. Opossum goes February 28th. Yep, looks like the hunting season's about done with. So I guess the only thing we can look forward to is turkey. Turkey coming up in the spring. That leaves what? Fishing. I was talking to son-in-law the other day, and he said the next big event for him would be the bass spawn. Well, I didn't know that much about the old bass spawn. Like I said, I might have known it at one time or another. I know it's contingent on what the weather's like and all that good stuff. If I can find my notes on it now. Here it is. Yep. Everybody have a successful season. If you didn't, if you did have a successful season, share some of your tactics and conditions in which you took your game. And if you didn't think you've been as successful this season as you have been in seasons past, what were some of the shortcomings? Did the environment change? Has the terrain changed? Or is the weather been off by those compared to those other seasons? What type of things would you say affected you not having the season you expected to have, or were just your hopes too high? That would be my luck. Shoot, I'm gonna win that $1 million lottery. Spend $1 million and win nothing, right? Just being hopeful. Anyway, Yeah, put that in the comments. That's interesting. Uh, to take a look and review your hunting season and what opportunities have you missed. Uh, have you started looking forward to next year's opportunities and developing strategies for your deer hunting game? If some guys, they're getting right back into it, and you could take up photography. Um, I do that, and I see tracks and trails all the time just by out taking landscape photos uh, on state parks, federal land, stuff like that. And you kind of learn. Habitat and what habitats are strong for what type of critter. But that's what I'm thinking. All right. Same way with any other season. Any of you guys out there do any of that grouse? I've seen one mountain grouse. I guess that's what it was. It looked like a grouse. Since I've lived up here in 7, 8 years now, and I saw it over Wildcat Creek, and it was just after that big fire over there. There was one crossing the road when I was coming up the road. I was up there thinking I was going to fish, but got absorbed in the fire damage and just drove through and checked that out. And I saw that thing. And I'm sure that was on Wildcat Creek over on that side of the lake. Anywho, that would be something. I've made the comment several times, just buy a bunch of darn quail and just let them loose around the place and see if they take up. I'd like to see some healthy birds. The dove do well here. My wife got them old bird feeders off the deck. And them little bitty birds, them fitches or whatever they are, and there's a cardinal too, and they'll get in there and they'll scratch that darn feed out of that feeder and uh, pick out what they like and go their way. But all that feed they knock off on the ground either sprouts or the dove are down there. And there's plenty of dove down there. If I see the old cats out there, but I think them old cats like them smaller birds better. I'm not sure. But there has been a bobcat, a lynx, whatever you want to call it. It's been caught on camera here, so that may keep that population down. But right now they're looking good. But something did happen on that last cold snap. Oh yeah. I talked about it in the last one. Darn old deer tracks out there getting them old tender greens and collards and turnips I try to keep as a winter cover crop and in case I get hungry. So yeah, the deer's out there getting into that. I guess the greenwood will start coming in, what, 4, 5, 6 weeks? Get some buds. That reminds me, I got that tree out there I got to kill and do some other pruning around the place too. Got to get that pruning going. Talked about starting seeds last week. When do y'all start your seeds? When? That's one thing I'm researching. When's the proper time to start seeds? And I guess you have to start backdating. Look in your zone. Determine around when the average is as far as the last frost, and then back down to how long it takes for seeds to get to a size that you want them to transplant, and then plant them on that date. And then you got to keep them heated and lighted, but still, man, last year I'm glad I did it when I went to the old Home Depot and they wanted $3 for a tomato set. God dang. I just go out. This year, I'm going to clean out my seed stash. I'm going to order brand new everything this year. And I'm going to take the old seed stash and I'm just going to go around various places in the yard that look like they might support a little something and put it in there. Put it in some pots, put it in, just start plants everywhere. That way I have less grass to cut. That's my intention. Um, yeah. So I'm thinking about that. I talked to my father today, and he says, "That sounds like you getting bored." And I said, "Yeah, man, this old cold weather, I don't like getting out in it. I got plenty to do. I got a driveway that needs work, and a tractor's got a flat, and seeds that need, going to be started, and um, so yeah, there's plenty to do, man. Keep busy. Of course, somebody call want me to go do something and upset my schedule. I guess that's it when you're semi-retired, just moving into it. You know, I don't. I like getting out there, but there's certain parts of the year that I need to concentrate on my dwelling on my. Some people call it fourth quarter purpose, and I like to do that stuff, but I like to get out and visit, and I like to get out and lead men. I like to get out and work with men. I like to get out, do that kind of thing. Make sure, check just the logisticals of it and the safety of it and the production of it and all that stuff. I get a great deal of pleasure out of that. So where were we? We was talking about hunting all the end of the seasons and critiquing our expectations. Did we meet our expectations? Did we exceed them, or did we fall short in reality? And then what can we do? What was different? How had the environment changed? Is there less feed, more feed, natural feed? Was there just something upset their pattern? And just kind of think about that. So, and then how can you apply what you've learned this season into the next season's hunt, combined with all your experience? If you're a 30-year hunter, you probably got some better ideas than a guy who's been hunting 10 years. If you've done it consistently. It's like fishing. I know some of these guys, some saltwater fishermen, some freshwater bass fishermen, they understand their creatures, their prey, their quarry. They understand what they're going after. They understand the habitat they live in, and how those fish operate within that habitat. And that's the way it is with me and the trout. I think I'm pretty knowledgeable in that arena, and I may have some shortcomings, but I didn't study it to know more than anybody else. I studied it so that I felt like I had a full understanding on how to maximize my effort, maximize my pleasure, maximize my learning. Something you could throw yourself into and try to, and not because you had to, you were competing with anybody. It was because you wanted to know. It's that age old thing, man against nature. We've been hunters for a long time, hunters gatherers, but we've been hunting a long time, and I'm sure that's still deeply ingrained in us and how we interact with our environment, for the benefit of the environment so that we can continue our existence. I'm probably getting pretty philosophical here, but I got plenty of time. But that's the way my approach is, even in my landscaping. That's the approach I have, is to find a little bit of harmony in the chaos. Now, I understand the importance of chaos. Excuse me. I understand and I respect the importance of chaos. Um, Chaos has to be random enough for us to be able to pull new ideas from it. Everything comes from chaos and it goes to order. And some people say, and I'm probably inclined that way, that order itself has to return to chaos. That's a strange thought. You know, anyway, we're supposed to be enjoying nature. And that's some of the stuff I think about when I'm absorbed in nature. So anyway, anybody, nobody, and nobody, no. Let's see what the analytics say. No viewers. Man, that's a sad disappointment. All that philosophical boasting and talking. And look at that. Not a single person heard that. So if you get to listen to this later on, give me a comment about my crazy thoughts. Anyway, we were finishing off the hunting season. All the hunting is done, and then we're getting to fishing, but should we talk about the next hunting season, which is, I believe, what was it, turkey season, and that's in March where I'm at. And so how do you hunt turkey? We talked about that a little bit last week, and I want to continue going in it since we're in turkey season, or that's going to be the next season is turkey hunting. I'm extremely curious about how to understand those birds and their environment and how they interact with their environment. I'm real curious on their behaviors and what their instincts are, how they. I need to do my own research, but if any of y'all listening out there, please comment on it. I'd like to really learn a lot, have a discussion about that. I've got books behind me here that talks about mammals, but I don't know if I've got anything that goes into any kind of detail on the turkey habits and habitat. Interesting. Get to learn about turkeys. Why? I'd eat. And there's been a couple caught on trail cam around here. That's the only thing I'm thinking about eating. hey, you don't get this size not eating, brother. Not that I run out and want to kill one, but if I had to, I'd want to know how to do it properly. Waste less time and most of all, energy. So, turkey season. I didn't even look up turkeys. I should have. How do you do that? Okay, let's see if I can do that real quick. If it'll give it to me. Let's see. Turkey habitat and habits, comma, how to hunt turkey. What y'all think? Let's see what it says. Hit that, go. that go button. Habitat. Wow. Says wild turkeys move a mile or two in one day depending on habitat and distance to food and water sources. Their annual home range varies from 370 to 1,360 acres and contains a mixture of grass, a mixture of trees and grass cover. Turkeys generally move a mile or two. Okay. Hunting tips. To hunt wild turkeys, consider the following tips. Choose the right camo, call, and firearm or gun. Find like-minded turkey hunters and learn advanced hunting techniques. Hello? Anybody out there? I believe I prefaced all that. Here's turkey hunting. Y'all can tell I'm from the South. I call it hunting, not hunting. National Wild Turkey Federation. I've heard of them, folks. Turkey basics. Appearance. There are two wild turkey species. The ociliated turkey of Central America and North American wild turkey. The 5 subspecies of the American wild turkey are Eastern, Merriam's, Gould's, Rio Grande. All right. Oh man. Let's see. Wild turkey appearance. Rio Grande and Ocilio or Oscilio. Wow. Easterns are the most widely distributed subspecies east of the Mississippi River. They are also the most abundant. They can be found in 38 states and numerous Canadian provinces. They are characterized by chestnut brown tips on their tail feathers, white and black bars on their wings. Adult males or tom weighs between 18 and 30 pounds, while females or hens typically weigh in 8 to 12 pounds. Eastern toms have what is considered the strongest gobbles of all subspecies. They also tend to have the longest beards of all subspecies. And they're just talking about different types here. Man, there's some beautiful birds. How to identify sex, cluck, habitat. Wow. Camouflage, bow or gun, calls. Did they cover habitat? There's a lot to learn. They don't stick trout fishing. What y'all think? Now I'll go with somebody. I don't mind. Look, I don't mind being the camp cook and going out there and learning and joshing around with folks. I don't mind doing that, or I might go hunt if the hunting's good and there's plenty of birds and maybe the fellowship. I don't know. I know you got to be quiet. It might be hard for me, according to some. But yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Maybe I can mess around with these devils out back here that have been caught on the old trail cam. What have I done? that been caught on the old trail cam back here. Maybe, I don't know, man. Take the grandson back there. See if we can find some turkey signs. He's 4. I get along pretty good though. You know, same age mentally. Pretty cool. I wish I had the energy. Oh, hold on a minute. I wish I had the energy that boy had. Shoot, man. Woo! How many of y'all had 4-year-old? How many of y'all have 4-year-old grandson? As parents, boy, I believe it now more than ever. You're so busy wanting your kids to talk to you and to walk and all that, and then before you know it, you're telling them to sit down and shut up. But as grandparents, we get to do it a little different. We ain't no, we reinforce what mom and dad have put on them. And when they hear it from a different authority, they react to it similarly until they understand the game they're playing. Like, what can I get away with, Pawpaw? If he won't let me get away with it, I can sure go hug my nana and get something. Damnedest thing. We was playing, he was probably 2.5, maybe 3. We was playing around and he was getting rough and I was just blocking him and putting the same amount of energy into what he was giving to me, and it knocked him down. Eventually he came running at me with that look on his face, that look of anger. When that failed, it kind of hurt. And we ran to his nana. And she picked him up and started hugging him. And that little rascal looked at me and grinned from ear to ear. It took his nana a little while to get the game, but now she's getting the game. She goes, I know what you're doing. Oh, it's strange. And it's kind of interesting too, as a grandfather, from my perspective, to watch him change his affections. It's not intentionally, it's not meant to be hurtful, but it I think is gender affiliated. That when you're itty bitty, you want your mama. You just want your mama. Dad's kind of cool, but you want your mama. And as time progresses, and it's just hurtful for moms too, that it becomes more male centric, that they kind of turn more to wanting to hang out with dad or Papa doing whatever he's doing. Just those more masculine things. And I think that's an interesting process to watch. But you may not have had to clean many dirty diapers, Dad and Grandpa. But the I gotta questions don't end, and they want you to go and do and all that. And when the weather's fine, I'll get out and go for a walk, but I'm not the kind of guy who would get in the floor. Now, I'll go to the workbench with him. I don't know if it's because I'm too old and don't want to bend down. His now get down the floor, but not this old boy. I'm sorry. I'll participate in a lot of things, but I won't. I don't think I can happily or enthusiastically participate in things that require me being on the floor. That old darned old thing is giving me trouble, man. I don't know if I'm getting out or not. All I know is I'm sitting here having fun. Where were we? We was talking about turkey hunting. That's the next one. Um, Fishing. Yeah, there's some difference in the trout fishing. Yeah, the tactics change based on the intima intima the stuff. What kind of bugs is active in the water? Entomology. You remember I think we talked about that last book when I got the old Orvis book out. Entomology. Um, and that drives a lot of other things other than the trout. It feeds the cycles of, they coincide with the cycles of reproduction in the trout. And then the fry have to subside on the things that they subside on that only operate with so much sunlight. They've got to have a window of sunlight. And then the fish will feed on those things that operate on that amount of sunlight. And then the little fish are food for the big fish, and the big fish will eat their own. They'll eat flies, insects, worms. They'll eat anything that will sustain them, and they will predate. The big ones will predate. Um, so it's an interesting mix for me to look at that. And I think that can transfer. The son-in law the other day said something about his next big thing is the spring. What did he call that? Spring bass spawn. And I read a little bit about that. And there's some temperatures required for that to happen. But those temperatures only come about through sunlight, length of days. So if the sky is fully sunny from a water temperature of 55 to a water temperature of 65, which is said to be optimal for bass to start their spring ritual, that if there's a cloudy day in there or a cold front flows through, that would change, that would be a variable on the amount of sunlight that the water would receive. Now, the cold front, does a temporary cold front affect the bodies of water's temperature? Yeah, it does. It does by fractions. But the largest impact on it, I believe, is sunlight. There's just so much more power in sunlight than in a cold air mass, if that makes sense. So I guess the thing you have to do is study those water temps. That makes sense. Okay. All right. Now, it seems that there's a pre-spawn and a post-spawn, and I'm not sure what that's all about. If some of you guys are into that in more detail, then I understand, or I can find right offhand to talk about. Chime in, give me some information. That's interesting. Anyway, sunlight. I think it has to do with sunlight. And what are those fry? eat on? They eat on insect larvae, like mosquitoes, or do they start out eating plankton or algae or just floating stuff in the water? Detrium, detrius, just is that the proper word? Just the fine particles that are abundant that provide growth, and they just vacuum up whatever comes their way and then expel that which isn't required for survival. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why I call it Rabun County rag. Because I know there's plenty of fishermen and plenty of sportsmen that either live here permanently or come through on a regular basis. And that's who I'm reaching out to. And there's probably all kinds. There's some old boys over here on the east side of the county that fish all that river water, and other boys over there at the lake that fish more for the bass. I don't, I don't even know what kind of bass they got over there. I wonder if they got stripers. I wonder if they got any striped bass. Hmm. I did see old boy take a lake trout out of there one time that shocked me. That's the first one I'd ever seen of any size come out of that. And I was like, whoa. Made me reconsider my uh, desire to fish in a lake. I've caught some trout out of that lake over there. No doubt about that. All right. Well, I guess we've talked through about 40 minutes now. Got about another 40 minutes or 20 minutes to go. Well, let's see what 4204. Yeah, I'm gonna be close. I'm gonna be close. Is this thing working? Am I y'all? Somebody, hey man, no audio. A whole hour, all you see is my lips move. How do you know? How do you know? I don't know. I'm learning. Maybe I'll get more comfortable with it. Maybe somebody will watch and say, hey, coming through right and clear, brother. I'd like to get, you know, have a guest come in. I can set up a studio or have a Zoom call with somebody and then broadcast it out, have guests, that kind of thing, either just for commentary or for technical advice and some of the endeavors that we talk about around here. You know, a guy who can talk about bows, what the different types of bows are, the compound and the recurve, and then I'm sure there's a plethora of other ones within those realms that could be described, that it has their fitting in the world, or somebody has a unique design, and we'd all learn a little bit of something and do it in a more personal way instead of just watching a video, but getting engaged on a subject. I tell you that I use the old rag, the RAG. That is an old ham radio term, where that's what guys did. They got on the radios and they had those kind of conversations. There were some rules they had to play by, like station identification. You couldn't keep the the airwave clogged up because there were so many. They didn't have internet. They had AM radio. They didn't have any FM radio, and there was a whole planet that could talk on that, but you had to have agreements on power. Well, with the internet, that's the same thing. It's me talking to you, and you can send me a letter instantly and tell me what you think I need to be talking about, something you're interested in, to get input from others. This is it, man. This is the new media. This is the new TV, where we involve ourselves in personal interests, things that we do with our personal lives for self growth, taking care of people we love, taking care of our community, making sure that we can check on each other, and we can trade things. We can do all kinds of things from a small centralized point where the information goes through. I don't need to be here on this platform right now. It can be anybody in the community. This is just me trying to promote the idea, and hoping that many people find this format successful when you're having to deal with hard times or tough times or good times or bad times. You know, be keeping an eye on your community. Do we interact with each other in a positive way through churches or men's groups or ladies groups or the Boy Scout? Do we get together and make sure that we're who we want to be? Or do I need to find perhaps another place to be that more closely matches who I am? It's not my intent or desire to change anybody's way. I can either accept it, and then I know that I'll accept it. But to what level will I go with it? I respect your right to feel and do as you please. That's the country we live in. But I also have expectations of you honoring and respecting my rights and feelings. And I have to do the same. Freedom of speech. We'll moderate each other. We'll have certain levels of acceptance. And we as individuals can move closer to our spectrum or further away from our spectrum. That's another beauty of being where we are. We can have cultural identities based on regional identities, or regional ethics, regional behaviors, regional. And that can be further divided, Baptists and Methodists, but hey, man, we still believe in the same kind of stuff. And, I like living here, and, but you don't have a right to move into anywhere and demand change or demand that you be treated in a way that is superior to the people who originally lived there. And it's not really, I don't think it's really a judgment on the person or the community. Beliefs, ethos, all that cannot be truly outwardly displayed. Now, there's some religious things that you can wear, and icons and tokens and things like that that express, but those are our internal ethics, not how we look. If you want to wear an earring, man, I'm cool with it. Hell, I had one years ago. I don't care. If you want to wear it long, I'm cool with that. That's on you. I think where the separation would be a little deeper than the superficial. Hey man, you could be just like me in every circumstance and every way. People say we look alike, talk alike, wear the same kind of stuff. But what if one of me believes in eating earthworms and the other one don't? I know which one I am. No, can't say that. Because then it would come down to how hungry are you? Oh, I wouldn't eat that. Yes, you would. Oh, yeah. You'll make a soup out of it. You'll make bread out of it. You'll make a meatloaf out of it. Oh, you won't eat collard greens? Oh, yes, you will. You're just not eating them today. 3 months without a fresh green. Yeah, you're going to eat some collard greens. Eat them raw, too. Just for the minerals that you crave. Anyway, I don't know how I got off on that. I don't have anybody to engage me, so it's up to me to engage me, and we never know where that's going to go. Woo! Crazy minds. I, I wish I had somebody to critique my audio and video. It looks pretty good and sounds pretty good when I do the replay, but sometimes I don't think I've watched many of them all the way through, but I guess I've been happy. The audio has been still been giving me fits. I finally went to an XLR on this mic instead of using the USB. I was using that USB and it had old clicking noise. It click, 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 and you move the wire and it'd quit. You say, I got it. Then you'd be sitting there and it'd be going click, 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 click. Every button on this darn computer, I was mashing every kind of system, turning things off, turning things on, updating driver, following every instruction that I saw anybody give on it, and still had no results. Luckily, I got this old audio interface. It's a Zoom 4, and it'll take an XLR input, and then I run it on it goes in USB. It had to been something in this microphone. It was creating that noise, some kind of feedback loop it was picking up. It was hypersensitive. It was picking up some buzzing for anyway. Because there's no sound. I mean, this Zoom 4 has got some amps in it that brings the floor of the mic up, but it does it internally and then it just sends a clean signal to the computer. Whereas with the USB-C, it's your computer's having to deal with all the background noise and all the hypersensitivities and all this stuff, and there could be a mic on somewhere on one of your peripherals that it's picking up. Could be and you'd go through and I just want it to be a pleasing experience for y'all. What is that? I talked about that not just today, as a matter of fact. We got a few minutes. Pride and humility. Pride and humility. Now, the other one was kind of formal. It's just words that were put into an order to maximize effort. And I don't have much time to go into it because it's 7 or 8 minutes, that monologue on its own. Pride and humility. In the end, you have to have a certain amount of balance. Both of them, the yin and the yang, pride and humility. You can't let one get so strong that it destroys the other. You have to balance those energies. And man, the older I get, the more some of this stuff's making sense to me, especially when you come through it through a different thought process than what you've heard in the past. But you have to, that balance requires a thought, or it's a ethos that guides your daily activity, how you believe in things. And for years, man, I was nose to the grindstone. Had to get everything, know everything, make good decisions. And that's still important. But I was basing it on what I thought was the best information. And that was what I thought. And then over the years, I got to be where I would tell, ask others, how would you do this? I've already know how I would do it probably. And there may be a couple spots that I wasn't sure about in a demolition process because of structural concerns and premature collapse, just mathematical stuff. And so when you do your assessment and you gather with other people who have done a similar assessment based on there being a common objective, and you congregate those minds. And this is what Napoleon Hill talks about. This is strange. Theory of the mastermind. You bring together all that thought power, because a lot of that stuff you're going to agree on as being the proper process. But you may provide the key for Joe's dilemma because of his process. And Fred may provide to you a key that was a dilemma in your process, and you both may add something to Fred's. And as you continue to consult to that end objective, you utilize the entire mind power of 3 individuals and not one. Hell, man, that's pre-chat GPT. I use it. I can present a model the way I think about it and put it in the best I know and ask for a dialogue or write me a monologue, include these points, give it a title, include the points, and then ask it to write a monologue, and then go back through and read it and change patterns. It's like a mastermind. Now, it doesn't have, I don't know that it is intuition. I don't know if that's a human thing alone or not, intuition. I don't know if AI has or can have that. I don't know. Anyway, far out thoughts. That's a 5 minutes you'll never get back. Hey, where do we go? Woo. Anyway, coffee. Yeah, I drink this. It takes me all day to drink this, and it's cold now. But I do drink a liter or two of water every day, and makes me have to go pee. And normally I'll go out in the yard and fertilize the grass. But it's so darn cold today, I decided I didn't want to do that, so I peed in the house. Well, I peed in the toilet, the commode. I don't know what you call it, but I peed in the house. Anyway, that's how cold I felt it was. I don't think it got above 27 today. It's that February cold. They call it Somebody used to call it. Oh, Neil Bortz used to call it Febu ugly. I'm going to steal that, Neil. I don't even know if you're still alive, man. You were my hero. You were the Sean Hannity before. You were the. You. I think that you were the Rush Limbaugh before the Rush Limbaugh. Unbelievable, man. Friends with Hosea Williams. Boy, he called them fouls and he balls and strikes too, buddy. He called them. He called them. And if he was wrong, he would amend it. Sometimes it was difficult to see the apology in the amendment, but it was normally there. And he would talk about it differently from thenceforth. And people would challenge him and go, hey, I agree. All right. Got him. Oh, it's a 7:01. Is it 7:01? Boys and girls, I sure have had a wonderful time tonight. It has been a blessing to get here, even though no one else watched it. If you watch it, scroll through and you find this figure on there talking crazy stuff, give me a thumbs up. Give me a comment. Say, hey man, you're a nut. Go find something different to do. Tell me that, man. Watch me be a dummy for a little while. That's cool with me. But one thing I'd like to leave you with is always, always, always try, no matter how dark the night, always try to have a grateful day. And I'll see you next Thursday night, which is, it looks like it's the 27th, at 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. In the interim, send me some messages if there's something you want to see us talk about. All right, everybody. Toodaloo. See you later.